Hi, I'm on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Insta Live. Welcome to Restaurant Live. And today's guest, I can't wait. As soon as he gets himself sorted out, I'm sure he'll be here in a second, is Jason Atherton, of course. Amazing chef Jason Atherton with oodles of restaurants. So I've got some great questions for him. I've got Donna Ida standing by just to make sure we've done everything correctly. And welcome everybody. Thank you for coming on. And I'm really looking forward to this chat actually, because I've known Jason for a long time. He's a brilliant ambassador for hospitality, of course. And also, we'll have to keep the chihuahuas quiet. I'm a bit nervous about them all actually at the moment, but anyway, hi Claire, Claire, thank you for joining us. And yes, I've been watching Jason do his cooking every evening as well, or most evenings actually. Been some amazing dishes on it. Where on earth he gets all this produce from, I'm desperate to find out. Yeah, and so this little section is called Restaurant Live, and we have some of the most fabulous chefs already. We've been already been on. Not all chefs. Oh, here he is. Jason's joined. Now all you've got to do is press a request. Jason, I'm so hopeless at this.
Or
so
you can
Jason,
go on here.
Can I go
there?
There
he is.
There
Look,
he is. There he is.
There he is.
Gosh, whenever he comes, I'm always so nervous about this. Hello, Jason.
How are you? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Good.
All good.
Good. Welcome to what we call Restaurant Live here. I've got some great questions for you.
Great.
But keeping.
Sorry, just going down the stairs 1 second.
Oh, you've got a baby in arms.
Yeah, there you go. Look.
Oh, wonderful. I love that you. I sort of sit here and get everything planned and make sure I haven't got chihuahuas barking and all kinds of things going on. I love how natural you are. Oh, that's sweet. So who have we got here?
This is Athena, the latest addition to the family.
Oh, wow, amazing. Well, this should be fun.
She's 7 months. Going to take care of
her. So great. Thank you for joining us today. I've got some great questions for you, but it's just going to be a super easy chat. I've got a glass of champagne. I'm very relaxed. I don't have loads of children and everything else around, so I'm going to just say cheers to you anyway.
Cheers.
So Jason, the first reason I wanted to get you on was to tell you about our Young Chef, Young Waiter, which we obviously launched just a week or so ago.
Yeah.
And we're all getting longer hair as well, aren't we?
I know, right? Desperate for a cut.
I feel like it's come out of the 80s at the moment. And we launched it last week, or the week just before last week. And the moment of what we did last year, do you remember when I was talking to you about it and I wanted you involved and I wanted as many of our named sort of hospitality brands, if you like, you're a brand in your own right, to be part of this, because it was about supporting, always it's been about supporting the new generation of our sector, our industry. And we need both service and we need both chefs. So one of the things I did last year, and I know you were very supportive of us, was to make sure that I recognize that people like you are time poor. You know, it's slightly different right now, of course, but under normal circumstances, you are so busy that if I could produce a competition that meant that all the applications and all of the judging, the first rounds anyway, until you get right to the final, could all be online, then that would help, one, people like you to be part of it, and two, it's a modern competition because everyone has one of these. You can do it all online. And so that was the style of last year. Well, of course, that style and what we did last year is now perfect for this year because everyone's at home, our young talent is at home.
Yeah.
And so right now, the route is to support our young superstars of tomorrow. And I know that you're obviously passionate about that, you know, with your training schemes and everything else. And so this competition has been so perfect for right now. And I mean, right now, at the moment, we have so much young talent just sitting out there.
Yeah.
So really it's about this competition going forward and getting as many people, your staff as well, your team, 26 and under, getting as many of them to apply online, which is on the youngchefyoungwaiter.com website.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are you, for instance, I mean, I have no idea how many staff you have. I have no idea around, you've got so many locations around the world. You must have, you know, hundreds of staff, but certainly a lot at the 26 and under mark. I mean, a lot of them furloughed at the moment. I presume they would be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's pretty much the same story across every restaurant around the world. You know, it's everything's shut down till further notice. We're hoping to get back in beginning of August, but again, we've still got to wait what that looks like. We don't know what the social distancing capacity is going to be, and once that's announced, then we can put a business plan together of you know, how many staff we can bring back. And then it goes from there, really. I mean, you know, until the government make an announcement, we can't really comment on what that looks like and when it will be, because it might get to a point where it's actually cheaper to keep the restaurants closed until social distancing is no longer there. But we just don't know. It's quite.
And how many staff within all the establishments do you have?
Well, it's all different because we don't own all the restaurants. So some of the restaurants are consultancies, some of them belong to us. But actual employed by us directly, there's probably maybe 300 staff, maybe, and then 350, something like that. And then in total, across the globe, there's probably about 1,000.
Wow, amazing.
So
yeah. There's a question of, we were talking about, you know, I am, and I know you are, I mean, passionate about making sure the young talent remain motivated, engaged, positive, energized, all of these words, to make sure that we don't lose them right now, because I know that you guys have had some amazing chefs on, amazing more to come with Claude and with Theo Randall and all these sort of chefs talking about how they've got to keep these teams together. It's taken you years to build these teams. So how are you keeping, and I'm concentrating just at the moment on the young talent. How are you keeping them motivated? How are you keeping in touch with them all?
I think mostly because of social distancing, we're doing mostly, you know, Zoom calls, mostly Zoom training. You know, a lot of them are signing up to different parts of our group, are doing different types of training, so sommelier training, wine training, even taking suggestions on social distance, how that works. You know, and then just me and the chefs, the senior chefs are doing just talking really about food and just talking about, you know, restaurants, what inspires us, you know, what will the new normal look like, what do we think. You know, and just really just exactly that, rather than just switching off, just engaging on what we think the future may be. I mean, because the trouble is, until we get back, no one really's got an answer. You know, you switch up the news on every day from one channel to the next. It's, you know, some say one thing, another says another thing, and then, you know, another country's doing this, another country's doing that. So it's really very difficult to gauge. But you know, all you can do is gauge on what's actually happening. So on real time, you know, our Shanghai restaurant is now open and busy, doing well, which is great, which is a really a nice shining light for us at the end of the tunnel.
That's great, yeah, great news.
Dubai opened up only a few days ago. We're still only having 30% occupancy because that's the rules of the UAE. So we'll wait for that to be lifted a little bit more as and when they feel it's safe. So it's just taking each country by each country and just you know, dealing with it really.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're an amazing group of people. Hospitality people themselves are, one, passionate, two, hardworking, and three, very creative. And so I think there's a better group of people to look at sort of how we go forward and how we can adapt and how we can look at the new opportunities that will obviously come our way, and how we can deal with what is a very, very difficult position for us, for our sector, you know. How many venues do you have now, whether they're consultants or how many venues do you operate?
There is 16 around the world with the 2 bars, so 16 places. Yeah, so quite a few. So it's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of meetings.
So one question as well, because this is a wonderful audience that I have and you have, but not everyone knows, you know, about you. I mean, they know who you are and they know what you do and how. But one of the questions for me, actually, it's quite a nice time to actually have a chat to you about how on earth did you go from sort of Pollen Street to about 16 or 17 in a span of some sort of 7 or 8 years or so. I mean, the growth is incredible. And I've always, you know, I come into the restaurant, we say hello, and you're off working and I'm off to another meeting or something. So it's actually quite nice to actually have just a little bit of time. But how did that happen? How did the growth happen so quickly?
Well, you know, a lot of people look at what me and Ira did at the social company, but it wasn't. You know, it was a short space of time, but at the same time, it's what came pre that. You know, when we opened Pollen Street, I was already pushing 40, so you know, it was best part of 10 years ago, and it's like, you know, it's one of those things where you have to look at what became before that. So you know, my job for Gordon Ramsay, who I worked with for, you know, again a decade plus, and you know, once I'd set up Maze for him, you know, my job was I got sent abroad to Dubai to open up his hotel restaurants there. And then off the back of that success, I got brought home to open up Maze for him, which quite quickly became a success and then a brand in its own right. And then my job really was to go abroad and open up mazes for him around the world. And that's basically what happened. So off the back of that, I'd already made a lot of contacts. Yeah. And that made the expansion abroad much more simpler, if you like, because we'd already been through that process for a decade previous. So it was really just a continuation. Yeah.
I love these messages that come up, by the way. It just said, in your kitchen isolation, could you please make a curry? So I'll relay these messages as they come through. But yeah, so Maze obviously was, what year was Maze? Or what years were Maze when you were there?
2005 we opened it. And then we opened up Pollen Street 2011, so 6 years later.
So you were Maze until then. Maze was obviously a massive triumph. I think it was probably the key restaurant for Gordon Ramsay of all of the Gordon Ramsay ones. And then you went straight, then you started your own in Pollen Street.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So, you know, it was always that case of, you know, not wanting to retire and not, you know, we loved working for Gordon. We loved being at Maze, and it was a great experience, and it was always one of the highlights of our career for sure. But you know, you get to a point in your life where you've got to take that risk and to see if you can do it for yourself, really. Do you mean? It was always something we wanted to do as a family. We always wanted to have our own restaurant, and to see if we were good enough to do it for ourselves. And you know, thank goodness back then it worked. You know, it's now got to work again when we go back. So let's wait and see.
Absolutely. And so then you went Pollen Street Social, then Social Eating House, and then the social, and then there's a whole load of socials.
Yeah, it was a word what we came up with because we just felt that that's what we wanted our places to be. We wanted them to be somewhere where it wasn't pretentious. You didn't feel like you had to get dressed up. You could pretty much come as you like, but still get a top-notch experience. And that's why we came up with the brand Social, really, I suppose.
I remember coming there. Honestly, you hadn't been open that long when we first came to Pollen Street Social. It was amazing. We were downstairs and we had the private dining room and all the meats. And then the one always confuses me is which one have you got in Poland Street? So you've got Pollen Street and Poland Street, and they're both socials. I remember going Social Eating House. Yeah. I think you did that on purpose because I remember going completely the wrong one and I was supposed to be the wrong.
We still get that 10 years on.
So you're absolutely right. We were talking earlier on, one about motivation, but two, how you're going to open. You know, this is going to be a tough one. You know, and I know that restaurants can open from the 4th of July. City centre dining will never recover. Yeah, I mean, I think somebody just said that the city centre dining, well, I don't know whether it will never recover. I think it will. Everything's going to recover. It's just going to, how it will recover and how we deal with it as we go forward. And again, you know, you're right on all this. I with my restaurant association hat, we have a Zoom call every Tuesday with a whole bunch of restaurateurs and groups of restaurants. Yeah. And the 4th of July, yes, some are. City centre, probably not, because, you know, it's going to take a little while before the city comes alive again properly. But will you be opening any on the 4th of July? Will you try any of the venues?
We'll open up the 1st of August. That's when we're pitching at the moment. That's our mindset. We'll adjust that as and when we need to, but that's where we'll go back with a smaller team.
Yeah.
The person who wrote that is absolutely right about city centre restaurants. I think in general that, you know, rents are too high. I think, you know, there's going to have to be some sort of movement. I think long term, it will recover 100%. You know, Mandy's right there. Where it says it will recover, just be different. It will be different. I think expansion. You know, it did get to a point of ridiculousness. You know, I remember going through a rent review at Pollen Street, and you know, what really put me in a predicament where, you know, the landlords wanted more money. They sent in Davis Coffer Lion to do the rent review. It was a very, very rude lady who sat there and was practically trying to bully me into doubling my rent. And it just wasn't worth it. So I had to play my trump card, which was, you know, at the end of the day, Pollen Street was a dump of an alley when I took that site on. It was a pitch and piano, what had two written warnings against it by the police to shut it down because people had been glassed on the street. And, you know, I took a gamble. I spent an absolute fortune redoing it up, me and my wife. We put our life and soul into it. And we turned a very, very bad site into a very, very successful site. Yeah. And I said to Davis Coffer Line, I'm happy to sell it. And, you know, I'll move to a site where I can afford, because I'm not going to double my covers just to please the rich. I want to look after my guests, you know, and me doing, you know, 60, 65, 70 for lunch and 80 for dinner is enough. I don't want to do more than that. That's my mark for that restaurant, and that's where I want to be. And you take it or you leave it. And, you know, we did have to, of course, a rent review is a rent review for a reason. We had to take a rent review, but you know, our landlords understood and they were quite friendly with us. And, you know, I think, you know, landlords are going to have to sort of either, you know, I call it kicking the can down the street. They're going to have to give us some sort of rent concessions and extend their mortgages longer and realise their return on investment is not going to be as big. And I think off the back of COVID-19 is just going to have to slow down. And that, even for us, you know, do we need to open another 20 restaurants over the next 10 years? No, we don't. Do you know? So it's like the whole world just needs to slow down, and that's including restaurant expansion for the sake of restaurant expansion. You know, do Carluccio's need to have a Carluccio on every street corner? No, do you know? And I think it's that's what's pushed up inflation, pushed up the rent reviews, pushed up you know, no staff, all that type of stuff, which has made running restaurants in the centre of London very, very difficult.
I think one is, it's great having this really open conversation to you. As I said, you know, we never get the chance to do these things, so it's really nice to do it. But the 2 points that you've raised are the 2 points that we're all going to have to be thinking about as we go forward. One is the social distancing, and whether it's going to be 1 metre, whether it's going to be 2 metres, whether it's going to be 1.5 metres. Nobody knows yet. I believe that's coming out on June the 15th or something or other. We'll get the rules and we'll get our guidelines for hospitality. I think you can sit back to back, and so if you can sit everyone back to back, you'll be fine. But I mean, there are some, you were waiting for the government, which is going to be an interesting one. Don't want Jason ever to leave the kitchen. I said, oh, here we go. Somebody just says they love your kid. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
My wife,
I'm not going to talk too much about the dancing, but I am going to talk a little bit about the cooking.
Yeah.
But the 2 points are exactly as you say. The social is going to be the distance, which is going to be key to how many people you can get in a restaurant. We know the teams will be smaller because you've got to make sure that each team is sort of COVID proof. And if one gets ill, the whole team can go. And then, of course, the other thing, which is a major to everybody, certainly in London restaurants, and I think London is, well, probably all city centres actually, are the rents, of course, which is going to be a big key decider on you. And thank you for being really open about, like, you know, this is for you to just tell everyone about how difficult. Everyone thinks, they say, Jason Atherton, amazing, oh my God, you know, he looks amazing, he's got great, wherever he goes, he's a brilliant chef, he's on TV and all that. But they don't actually always see behind the scenes. Pardon?
It all might be for sale in a couple of months.
but nobody sees behind the scenes. And so anyway, behind the scenes, as that leads into this one, is the social kitchen isolation, which has been great fun. One of the things I mean, look, you've been doing it, I've been doing some, this period of time we've had,
yeah,
you've either got to sit and watch a TV and moan, or you've got to do something. Love the tic tac. Oh yes, so here we go. Yeah. We're back on the dancing here, and even I've been doing cooking online, which I've really enjoyed. You know, from years ago when I started my very first restaurant, I started thinking about food properly again, and I started thinking about whether I'm making chips, I'm making whatever I was going to make. You know, whether it's something from the old regime or stay down. Yeah. I just thought about it again, and I thought about food again, really properly, and I thought about where I'm getting it and how I'm doing it. And for the first time in years, because like I've been running around I've run around London, I've got meeting here, meeting there, meeting there, and I have beautiful meals in beautiful restaurants, which is gorgeous. But I'm now cooking, and I'm really enjoying it. And of course, one of the things I see that you do, which are dishes, sometimes beyond most, although you're keeping it simple. Your Thai dishes, of course, are fantastic. But the produce you're getting, of course, you have these amazing suppliers. I mean, did I see a turbot or something? I mean, the fish you get is just amazing. So, and I mean, I presume they sort of say, well, look, use some of this or cook some of this, and I don't know where it will come from.
The thing is, I mean, we try and do a little bit of both. I mean, just recently we've been doing a lot more of the luxury stuff because we've been trying to help the supply chain. So in essence, basically, like Flying Fish, who provide all our lovely fish for the restaurants. He has been trying to restart his business. So he said, look, Jason, I'll send you some fish up. If you can just try and teach people how to prep it and stuff like that, because we don't have any filleters, we can't afford them. So we're literally taking them off the boats and selling them. That'd be great. So we did that, and but not everybody can afford to buy a turbot, right?
Well, I did say when I saw this, I thought,
even though it's amazing value at the moment.
Yeah. But, and what would that turbot? I said to somebody asked me, how much would that cost? I mean, I don't know, 100 quid. I don't know how much it would cost, that turbot.
Yeah, that one was about 60 quid, but normally that would be like a £450 fish.
Yeah.
So you're, the moment, if you're really into your fish, now's the time to, just spend a little bit more. You can buy lobsters. I was buying lobsters the other day for like £3.50 off a guy who's bringing them up from Cornwall. And he's just driving around southwest London, flogging lobsters. You
had the other day, they were £3.50.
Yeah, a lobster, and they're like and they're 800-gram lobsters. They're not small ones.
No.
We bought 4. We struck up the barbie and got them on there, and it's great. It's great. Do you know?
Amazing. Well, as I said, I've been watching, and of course, you have that wonderful knowledge of Thai food. Which is way outside my remit, but of course, you that's part of your world. And do you use many Thai dishes within the menu? Can I book a table for the first lunch service at Pollen Street? Can't wait for. Oh, that's nice. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I've jumped ship. I'm going to jump ship here. there was something I saw, was it bookings in Germany? So, because as we go forward, we're going to all have to book. I think that'd be quite handy, actually. So there won't be any walk-ins. A lot of yours restaurants wouldn't have walk-ins anyway, I wouldn't have thought, but a lot of them will. And so now, and in Germany, apparently, the bookings, now I know it's not walk-ins, but the bookings are right back up there again. So I heard. I don't know whether you heard that.
No, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not. Do you know what? I've tried to limit myself. I wake up in the morning. We try and keep a good routine, me and Ira. And, you know, she's up quite a bit of the night with the baby. I get up early anyway. So I then take over the baby first thing in the morning. I watch news for an hour with a coffee. And then I try not to watch it. I watch a little bit at the 5 o'clock sometimes.
Yeah.
Do a couple of hours in the gym. We do our business meetings. We do our Zoom calls, all the rest of it. And then I cook dinner. We sometimes Instagram it, sometimes we don't. And then we you know we watch a movie or watch a TV program, and then we go to sleep. You know, I can't stop. You know, it's since the age of 14. I don't think I've had this much sleep.
Well, I noticed that I've certainly been going a bit earlier. There's no two ways about that. But I think it's really important to keep a routine going, don't you? I think it's absolutely vital. Like you, I'm at my desk at about 9, and I do a bit of, I don't do working out exercise, but I do some stretching exercise. I like to get dressed. I like to be prepared as I would be. I'm not wearing suits, of course, inside the house, but I do like to get ready for work. I think it's really important. I think that's really important for everybody. You know, even speaking to you today, it's part of my day now. I had some amazing chefs. I've got still some amazing chefs to come. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
It's like a feed for me. You know, I can't see you, but I can talk to you and see you, and everyone else can see. You know, and it's sort of like a fix for me, you know, because I love going out and about and meeting people. And this has been lovely. And we've got John Williams coming on next week. I've got Sophie Michelle coming on next week, who now lives in Barbados. That was new to me. I didn't realise. And then my dear friend Thomas Keller is coming on the 15th of June.
Yeah, he's great. Legend.
And I can't wait. You know, for me, I get excited about that as if I would be going to the French Laundry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be great to see him again.
I don't know. French Laundry right now.
Pardon?
I wouldn't mind going to the French Laundry right now.
Well, I wouldn't, but he's not open either at the moment. Although he was doing a drive-through at the Surf Club in Miami.
How was it?
A $29 drive-through or something the other day, I heard. So, but it'd be great to hear his opinion and what's going on, of course, in the US, which is going through, you know, very weird times at the moment.
We've got a restaurant in New York, as you know. So we were with those guys this morning about, you know, again, opening. It's the same story, which is a sad story, just opening on the minimum amount of staff possible, what that concept looks like. You know, I had a phone call with Michelin about it about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and you know, they completely understand how it's all going to be. And you know, it's just, you know, it's a case of just, you know, we've got to give it a go, right? We've got to get back to some normality, whatever that looks like, you know, because I think it's too weak just to give up and say, right, okay, that's it. You know, a pandemic's happened and the world's going to end. It's not going to end, do you know?
No. No, it's not going to end. And you know, again, it's great hearing your positivity. Of course, you've got to be positive. Of course, you would be positive. But also, you're a businessman as well, you know, and I loved actually that somebody just said, I can't wait for it. We're getting loads of messages, by the way, going through, can't wait for your restaurants to open, can't wait for your restaurants to open. And of course, if people don't know, you know, you're Michelin star both here in the UK and in New York. And so I know that I work very closely with Michelin, as you know, here in the UK, and they are really, you know, working hard to make sure the revelation, the Michelin guide, obviously comes out. I think the only time it didn't come out was in World War II or something. So, you know, they really don't want to. I lived in New York for 9 years. I love the restaurants there. So somebody loves the restaurants in New York. And it's called the clock? Is it the clock tower? Clock
yeah.
tower.
Yeah, it's called clock tower, and it's you know, it will be, you know, everything will be different for 6 months to a year, you know, until people, it's all about consumer confidence. Once people start going back out, and, you know, we'll soon know, because no one has the answer, whether people will be getting sick or people won't be getting sick. But, you know, one thing's for sure, as human beings, we can't stay on our houses forever, and governments can't afford to keep staff on furlough forever. That's just a sad fact of life, and we have to build some sort of economy, and as human beings, we'll adapt to that as and when we have to, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. And as I said, you know, your openness is fantastic. We know as we go forward that we're in for a rocky ride. But you're absolutely right. You know, nobody's been in more restaurants than me over the years, and I'm thinking, and I was poorly a few years ago, you know, and I'm thinking, careful, you know. I mean, I've been home here for 13 weeks. I mean, I popped out to play a game of golf, golf club, and I've done, and that's probably it. I've played 2 games of golf in 13 weeks. I've been out, you know, and I've been here, and I've been doing some cooking, and I've been doing this. I've got to go to a restaurant again. I want to go to a restaurant again, but I've got to feel safe in that restaurant.
Yeah.
And the key for us is, obviously, I think that the wording was from UKH that if the staff are safe, because the staff have obviously got the key, without them being safe, nobody's safe. If the staff are safe, then your customers are going to be safe.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a nice way of just making it really simple without looking at all the 50-page document that we're probably going to get about risk assessment in COVID and how it's going to go. And we can't sit with screens and visors and masks on when we eat, I suppose.
Yeah.
So jumping a little bit now, just going to just a little bit more, and then we're going to finish. But I want to know where did the dancing come from? Is this an idea? Is this going to be your Strictly moment? Is this the?
Oh. Oh no! You're not going to
it was very good, but it was
in a male anytime soon. It's a.
What's your?
It's
no.
Basically, all the kids in the. We've got 3 girls, one 14, one 8, and obviously one 7 months. But they all mess around on TikTok with their mum, and we were just messing around that night, just faffing around. I stole the baby's headband on, and then we literally for like 2 minutes, and we went for it. The result of it was quite fun.
Oh dear. It was one of the, I think it was it Wayne Bridge and Frankie Bridge or something? I mean, Donnie knows.
Yeah.
Frankie very, and it was, I was sort of zipping through Instagram, and you're very good on Instagram, by the way. I mean, you've really, endorsed it and captured it and work it. And I think when I see, this Insta Live is sort of newish. I mean, here I am doing it, and some old dinosaur here I am doing it. I'm really enjoying it. But you're very good at it. You know, you've got a great following, and you know, you do your social. I mean, you've obviously done a lot of filming and a lot of TV and a lot of sort of visual stuff. You know, and how many of the videos do you do a week?
We normally do about 4. I think on average, if you average it out, we do sometimes more, sometimes less. So it's normally about 4 a week, something like that. Because you don't want to oversaturate it, right? People get, you know, even when I hear, my wife does all the recording and editing and stuff in there, and I can hear it around, and I get sick of hearing my own voice, right?
Well, Donna does mine, and it's just a hoot. Are you doing one tonight?
I think so. I think we might be doing. I'm not sure if it will get put up tonight, but we're definitely going to do something tonight. So I bought some cuttlefish the other day, and then I made a crab stock with leftover crab bones, and I taught everybody, and that's been in the freezer. So I've defrosted that. So I'm going to make like a paella with like chicken, cuttlefish, and my crab stock, just to teach people how to make a quick paella. Right? It's not going to be anything too fancy. It's not. You know, we're just going to teach them how to make it, and then just serve it. So you can pretty much do it with anything you want, right?
I love the way your cuttlefish paella is not too fancy. Do you know what I'm doing? I am going to do one as well today. I'm doing sausage rolls, right? Really good really good sausage rolls with a red onion jam, which was going to be within the sausage roll. That's mine tonight.
Sounds great.
So I love the fact. Do you know? For me, it's great. Listen, it's been super fun speaking to you. I love the fact talking about cook, and this is how weird the world is. I'm talking to you about what I'm cooking, and you're talking to me about what you're cooking, and you've got 17 restaurants out there, and I'm wandering around. But it's been great fun. When is it? Oh yes. When am I doing a pie? Yes. Well, I'll watch yours first, and I'll have a.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast the world's changed in a matter of a few months. We were just talking, to our people about Chef's Brigade and what I'd give right now to be back on the road traveling around Europe with those young chefs doing Chef's Brigade. I think we all one thing this has taught us all, I think, is to when we do get back to whatever we're getting back to appreciate a little bit more and soak in what we're actually doing, right, rather than just bulldozing through stuff and getting on to the next thing. And I think that's something we're certainly going to take out of the whole thing.
I think you're so right. I mean, the time we've had time to reflect, haven't we? And we've had time to sort out all. I mean, your house will be immaculate, I'm sure.
Yeah. Sandblasted the street. Even so, if you put a drone over our house, I've put the neighbours to shame because I've got I've even sandblasted the pressure wash the street. So when you drive up to my house, where my house is, the actual street is as clean as my driveway. Oh
my God. Well, yeah, the jet wash. I think everyone has bought a jet wash. I've jet washed decking. I've jet washed piles. I jet washed the wall that I wasn't supposed to jet wash, and then I have to employ the painters to paint it again because I jet washed all the piles. And my wife said, "What the hell have you done?" I said, "Well, she said, "But why have you taken the paint off the wall?" I said, "Well, yeah." But yeah, I think it's certainly given us new tools to work with, but given us time to reflect. I was supposed, we had the Mission Revelation, we had the national, it's called the International Restaurateurs Dinner, which I think you were at last year or the year before, the Restaurant Association Gala that I run, the Tatler Restaurant Awards, all of these things have moved. And one of the things that you wouldn't have known was that the Young Chef, Young Waiter competition of 2020, the finals were going to be in Dubai, at Expo in Dubai. And I think you were probably going to that anyway. Yeah. And so the finals were going to be there. They were going to use, the Department of International Trade had basically not bought the rights, but sponsored the finals to be a showcase of British hospitality. Wow. So that was really exciting. You wouldn't have known about it, but it's now going to happen in 2021, and I'm sure you'll probably be there in 2021 anyway. Yeah, it's all getting pushed back, isn't it, to next year? Yeah, a lot. It's going to be a very busy year because everything's getting pushed back to next year. There's going to be literally everything, event after event, right? Yeah, well, yeah. It starts in January, I think. We're going to be I can't say which event it's going to be in January because I'm sworn to secrecy. But anyway, so something's going to happen in January, and then we go forward. But yeah, certainly the Young Chef, Young Waiter 2021 will now be the finals will be in Dubai again. Although this year will happen anyway in 2020, but we're going to involve the winners into 2021. We're going to because. The prize, and the prize, by the way, for Young Chef, Young Waiter, I can't remember, I mentioned earlier on, is these days, things have moved on, is a Mercedes each for a year. Wow. So get your guys, pardon? Steal it, just say you lost it. And including insurance, so you get a Mercedes each. Yeah, not bad, eh? Yeah, not bad, amazing. So get your young chefs entering the competition. Jason, it's just so nice to see you. Thanks for your time. I know you've got children and all kinds of stuff everywhere. You'll probably get back to your jet washing or something now. But listen, it's been great seeing you, mate. And thanks for your time. Thanks, obviously, for your support always in whatever we do, which is brilliant. And I wish you luck and keep me close in when you're opening. And absolutely. I'll be one of the first there, all right? Right. Lots of love. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everybody. Bye.